We're reacting to XXL, the class that changed everything.
Currently, I'm putting my kid on to the greatest cipher of all time.
You can't go there. 2016 freestyle! Rolling on my wrist. Rolling on my wrist. 30 on my wrist. What? 30 to your face. What? 60 to your face. What? 90 to your face. What? That's a closed case. Yeah!
Freshman is a franchise that XXL puts together every year. We've done for the past 19 years, where we try to predict the next 10 to 12 new artists coming out that are gonna blow up, maybe being on the cover as a solo artist one day.
Freshman class, in my judgment, has a legacy of being the singular most important look an emerging artist can receive in hip hop.
It's not a popularity contest, and it's not just about who's the best rapper, it's who's got the best chance to be a rap star.
It's the most coveted, important place we look to discover our new acts.
The freshman class, all the way dating back to when it first started, it's birthed a lot of great artists.
I wanted to be a freshman because I remember who y'all had on the list before.
I remember being a child and seeing the covers always, they were so like monumental.
Y'all had Currency on the list before. Y'all had Cudi on the list before. Y'all had J. Cole. Y'all had Nipsey Hussle. Y'all had J-Rock.
XXL is a global platform all over the world.
Y'all had Lil B. You had Mac Miller. You had Kendrick.
You can spin the globe and pick a country, and I guarantee you they're familiar with the XXL freshman cover.
We wanted to be a part of that legacy and what that might bring.
Not only just being a freshman, but just being a part of that XXL legacy and the history behind it. A part of something that's a real staple in just hip hop and the culture.
When you land on a XXL freshman cover, it can basically jumpstart your whole process.
Every year we sit with 50, 75 different artists in person on Zoom, where we sit down and get to know them. We hear music that they have going on, the label they're signed to, what their attitude's like, what their reputation's like, what their legal situation's like, what's going to catapult them or what's going to stop them. We never pick immediately. We spend months arguing as a staff over who's going to be the freshman.
XXL is looked at as like the gauge of who's going to be the next thing. If XXL says that this is the guy, then this is going to be the guy.
That freshman cover, it really meant something. You know what I'm saying? It was like a real stamp for an artist. Like, if you got that freshman stamp, then you were solidified putting that work in this game.
It gives you the opportunity to be seen and heard by fans of the XXL brand, fans of your peers who are on the cover with you. It does a lot for the ecosystem of hip hop as a whole.
And so the freshman list every year is a guaranteed conversation starter.
And it helps the rest of us in media, like, discover new things that we didn't necessarily think of before.
And not only is it a guaranteed conversation starter, there's no way to garner agreement. It's a feature, not a bug.
In the past, when I've spoken to other artists, I'm like, oh my God, I saw you in the freshman cover. They look at me and they've said, like, that was fire. So it gives them a chance to, like, represent not only themselves, but their hometown, who they are.
I think there's not a lot of recognition in hip hop in general. This is almost like the gold standard of early recognition for artists, or the springboard for them to actually gain fanfare outside of their traditional fan base.
XXL does a beautiful job of introducing artists to people that don't necessarily have them on the radar.
Every year, even me, I'm like watching and being like, oh wow, this, and then sometimes I'll be like, I don't know who that person is. And then I'll look up their music, and then I'll be like, and I probably wouldn't have looked up their music otherwise.
Nobody's ever paid to be a freshman. We've never gotten anything in exchange for putting somebody on the cover. It is completely coming from a journalistic place. It's untainted.
It's an artist's way of showing, like, I made it. I have arrived. Something that we all look forward to every year.
Downside of the internet is the removal of tastemaking, people not respecting people who have good taste. The XXL freshman has maintained a cachet of when you see it, you go, I need to stop and see what this is about.
We're doing it because we truly love hip hop and want to make a platform that highlights new artists in a way that no one else does.
So the 2016 XXL freshman class, Lil Uzi Vert, Kodak Black, Designer, 21 Savage, Denzel Curry, Lil Yachty, G Herbo, Anderson .Paak, Dave East, and don't forget Lil Dicky.
That was really on the cusp of when the internet and SoundCloud were taken over. You saw a lot of artists standing out, being themselves, different style, very proud to be who they are, when there was a little bit more of a uniform to hip hop. When you hit 2016, you were really seeing a shift.
In order to understand why the 2016 freshman class is so special, you actually have to go back earlier. You go back to the blog era. The freshman class always struck me as an effort to kind of rationalize the mess that was happening online.
Yeah, at that time, it was a strong division between the youth and older purists. And XXL is a very respected hip-hop editorial for years and years and years of purists, hip-hop heads, of boom bap.
The 2016 class is kind of the end of the era that had just preceded it. All of the artists kind of in the years leading up to that had really been propagated in large part by the blog era.
Hip-hop was becoming more and more decentralized. There were more substrains of it. And the freshman class was a way of saying, let's put some rigor to it. Let's put some order to it. And let's also play some bets.
At some point, I don't know where in 2016, but I started to realize like, oh, this is a shipping paradigm.
There was a lot of conversation going on around this time about mumble rap or the SoundCloud rapper. There was a divide coming within the culture, like within hip hop. I feel like I hadn't seen since Backpackers versus the Shiny Suits.
Right at this pivot point of like where like social media was still a super part of culture and it like, but it wasn't what it is today. So it was just at this perfect inflection point. The good old times versus the new day.
2016 comes along, the internet is still a viable promotion mechanism, but people we used to think of as blog rappers are gone. It's replaced with innovative style, street credibility, real personal flair.
It was diverse, sort of represented a cross-section of lyricism and true street stories. People were tuned into that at a peak in 2016.
Hip hop has always really valued authenticity, and every guy in that class is so unique. You can't bump anybody off of being themselves in that class. Like every single one of us is like a complete snowflake unicorn of an artist who could probably never be influenced to do anything other than exactly like what they believe in their core.
Up until that point, what records came out, what record came out first, the mixes, the masters, when it came out, it was all controlled by your label. Do we like the song? Do we not like the song? Do we think it's a hit? Do we not think it's a hit? Before that point in time, you had to walk into a building and ask someone for permission.
When you think of a rapper from Philly, you don't think of Lil Uzi. When you think of Florida, you might not necessarily think about Kodak Black. Initially, you might think about Legacy, Trick Daddy, Rick Ross, but now Kodak is ushering a new thing. When you think of Atlanta, you don't necessarily think of Yachty. You look at that cover and it's possibly the most diverse. Rap is always perceived as this one thing. Like if you don't rap this way, then you're not actually rapping.
That class felt like it was the first class of like individuality, a new generation kind of being ushered in.
Climate was just different in 2016, coming out of an era which was pretty much mixtapes. The way you actually got on back then, and nobody knew exactly what the streaming era was going to be.
A lot of the folks in this list are pure internet stars, which isn't to say they're not tethered to a local city or community. They were never really famous off the internet. Folks like Cole or Kendrick very much were in the mold of traditional 90s or 2000s rappers.
Remember, we were coming off the era where the last traditional superstar came from, where they looked like a traditional rapper. This group of guys all look different. Uzi with pink hair, Yachty had red braids.
I had my red hair, my braids, and my beats, and people thought I was crazy. They thought I was gay, weird, and just like, who is this nigga?
Breaking the norm, going against the grain, Yachty painting his nails or Uzi, his different piercings. We hadn't seen rappers be as...
I wouldn't say visually attractive to the traditional hip hop eye.
But I think if you, as a young person, consuming all of your hip hop content on the internet, you look at someone like Uzi or someone like Yachty, and immediately you're like, you're a creature of the internet.
The copy on the title was a new wave. There was like a pivot happening between like what typically people would be like labeling someone as a great rapper, which is like super lyrical, being a quote unquote rapper's rapper. And I think the pendulum starts swinging to like this new era of hip hop.
I remember pulling up in the all white and it was early too, and it was super secretive.
I didn't know what to expect. All we knew was we was gonna get outfits, we needed a couple freestyles ready, that we was gonna be taking photos and all this stuff all day.
I remember the vibe the day of the shoot being pretty upbeat. A lot of industry people behind the scenes, management teams, label reps. Everybody's kind of like separated. Every artist has their own space, their own room, getting ready, they're preparing. I'm backstage chopping it up.
Everybody was pretty much keeping to themselves. A few people knew each other. I think people were a little nervous. Everybody wanted to do their best.
I remember walking into that room and I was like, why is Weird Al Yankovic here?
I think everyone initially perhaps landed wherever physically they were brought, and everyone was kind of separate initially, but then I just feel like as the day went on, there was a real camaraderie.
I get there that day, I see who I'm gonna be on the cover with. It was dope to me. A lot of those artists I was fans of.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna count it off. 1, 2, 3. Make sure your eyes are open, here, and good energy on 3.
Nobody on the shoot didn't have the confidence to know that they belong there.
I always felt like I belong. I'm supposed to be here. On some ego shit, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be on the freshman cover. I know I am.
It was a little bit intimidating. I didn't really know how I fit in. Looking around, I didn't know anyone. Everyone, I felt, had more emotion than me.
I found out Lil Dicky, me and him went to the same college. I didn't know that.
I remember just being in my little corner and just kind of keeping to myself. And then I remember Lil Dicky coming up and being like, man, I'm a huge fan of yours. That made me feel really good.
That day, I nailed everything from the interviews, the one freestyle alone. When you guys came to my room, it's like, it's time for the XXL Cypher. Dave East and G Herbo was there, so I'm like, okay, I think I got my stuff ready.
That was the first year artists got the beats in advance. Denzel got the wrong beat.
It was not the same beat.
Unfortunately, there was some confusion with the beat, and Denzel ended up in the cypher with the other 4 guys, with Savage, Yachty, Uzi, and Kodak. And I didn't know at that moment, like, how was that going to work out? Because I don't think Denzel really initially fit into that group, but it was kind of like, this is the beat he got, it landed this way, so we're going to see how it goes.
The category for that, for the most part, seemed to have fit Uzi, Yachty, Kodak, and Savage. People would kind of classify them together. Denzel kind of stood out how people may perceive a lyrical rapper.
I just always thought it was like, shit, if you're a rapper and you get thrown a beat, any beat, go.
By the time you guys was like, okay, we're ready to start shooting for the cypher, and y'all was like, who's gonna go first? Everybody looked at me, everybody started looking at each other, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go first.
Oh my God.
Rest in power, it's all about power. Squeeze 2 lemons together and really all you'll have is sour.
Forget the rapping for a second. We'll get to the rapping. The first thing is, how do these guys look?
Kodak came in with Bantu knots. Lil Yachty had red hair. Uzi had purple locks and a purse.
21, just an incredible visage, face tattoo right in the center.
Everyone had their own unique style and presence, and that's what hip-hop is built off.
If you look at the 2015 cypher, that wasn't happening. So something had molted, like something had been sloughed off, and then there was this fresh visual approach to how should a rapper look.
Bitch, you know that. Yeah.
They did everything on their own way. And I think that's why the kids celebrated them. They look at them kind of like rebels. It wasn't necessarily like the MCs that everybody's always so thirsty for. The most lyrical, no. They were all around creatives.
Man, the kid I was, red hair, wearing my boss's chain, because I didn't have a chain yet. It blew so big because you had never seen it before.
The second thing that's happening is these guys are so happy to be hanging out with each other.
The energy in the room was really the beginning of what the future of hip hop is gonna look like, because that's what it feels like. The kids took over the house.
They're laughing, they're doubled over, they're smiling, they're watching other people get bars off and being like, oh my God.
It just felt like the guys were just really living in real time and being present. Unlike me, when they were doing that cypher, I was probably like in the hallway, like practicing. And trying to make sure I was like as good as I possibly could be. Like those guys were just like kind of flying by the seat of their pants and letting their essence speak for themselves. Boy, did that work.
The guys were ad-libbing each other. It was fun in it, almost like they was just horsing around, which was dope because in a cypher, like a lot of times it's one of their biggest opportunities. People take it very, very seriously.
The magic of the video is, damn, these guys like each other. And they're really happy to be representatives of this generation.
What? 30 on my waist. What? 30 to your face. Yeah. 60 to your face. Yeah. 90 to your face. Yeah. That's a closed case. Yeah.
One of the main things that stood out from that 2016 cypher that was so popular was when Kodak called it the sorry-ass beat.
One of the producers that provided some of the beats Sick with it, he was at the shoot, younger kid, and he was super excited about the opportunity.
Man, Kodak did not like that fucking kid.
Who the fuck picked this little sorry-ass beat? I'm from the ugly corner, man, them little sorry-ass.
When Kodak said, who picked this sorry-ass beat, the whole entire set lost it.
You laughed, that guy over there, he laughed too.
I ain't gonna lie, I had my phone and I was recording, and the moment he said what he said, I literally just went.
Standing there watching the next front runners of the rap game,
crazy.
and one of the biggest, pretty much, this is his beat. Probably didn't feel good about it.
I remember them saying, a producer saying, like, this guy produced it.
I had a conversation with myself that happened very fast, and it said, not everybody likes your stuff, bro. Like, and that's okay, because that's the kind of skin you have to have in this game. I looked back, I looked forward, and I was like, it is what it is, let's roll with it.
They dead fly. I ain't even gonna lie, this a garbage ass beat.
Here's the thing about XXL covers. When a freshman cover comes out, you kind of want to figure out if the team hit it or missed it.
People always got something to say about the XXL list every year, or who made the list every year.
Obviously, you're highlighting the artist. That comes with everything that artists come with, but it also opens up the conversation.
It's just a big stepping stone in general for hip hop, but the public response was different.
You got people in the media space who now get an opportunity to talk about the cover and talk about the class.
I remember not being initially impressed. These were not names that I, at that time, as the backpack East Coast purveyor of hip hop nerdery that I am, I don't think I had been ultra excited.
You've got the fan base who get a chance to engage with one another and argue in the comment section about the class.
Oh, I remember the memes. There was this one where they photoshopped garbage bags all over them, which I thought was so foul.
At first, I was disappointed. I didn't understand. As I look back on it now, though, like, let's be real, 2016 probably produced some of my favorite artists ever.
I know one thing, after we got that cover, our shows went up, opportunities went up. We used it as leverage for a lot of different things, and it gave us access to a lot of different things.
I feel like what it really did was, like, make me and my friends want to do, like, our own versions of ciphers.
They laugh about it now because, again, they proved so many people wrong.
TV, clothing, podcasting, whatever realm that comes with hip hop, I feel like we all are still doing our one too.
There were people 10 years ago where it's like, you know, these are the main guys, and it just continuously changes. So I feel like it's important to just look at this whole thing and see how music evolves over time.
Almost every artist that we sit with wants to be part of Freshmen. Most of them talk about how influential the 2016 class was. You've got these young artists now in 2026 coming up, how influenced they were by a class from 10 years ago.
For me, I was 12 years old. I was probably in this is like my introduction to like me finding rap.
Why was the 2016 class so big? We all had a different sound, a different style, different outlook. We still very relevant to this day.
2016 is the best class. I mean, when you go back, go and look at it. What the accolades are, what people have done, you'll see. These are the guys, and they still are the guys.
We've seen moments where people put the cipher in their baby's bassinet when the baby's first born. Or they've shown it to an ostrich, or they've shown it to a fish that they caught.
It gave me a boost of confidence, the extra push that I needed to just go out and deliver, to go out and know that I was here to stay.
I think it brought way more eyes to what I had going on than I had before.
Just being in that one class put a battery in my back because I didn't want to be seen as the odd man out.
That was my first time being on a real cover of a magazine that I personally used to read. So that to me was like even a sign like I'm damn near where I'm trying to get.
It meant so much to me because I was a kid looking at the interviews, Travis Scott, Lil B, and it just felt good to be a part of some history.
I come from a block where you seen it but never saw shit. I be at the juice bar, my wheat grass and bark shit.
I'm all time like the wall at the bank, you know shot like you're drawing a blank.
I'm the king of the mischievous South, and this one goes to all the hoes that be screaming it out.
A couple of the freestyles dropped. The one that like come to my mind like first is Timmy Turner, ain't wishing for a burner, kill everybody walking,
You know that it's on the finest.
If you go back to my 2016 Best Singles of the Year list, that's my #1 song of the year. This kind of like low guttural blues tone mixed with Atlanta cadence. And the fact that it was so stark, shot so cleanly, and it's so short. You fall into it, you get shaken around by it, and then you get like spit back out into the real world.
Know that it's on the finest.
What I think made our class, the 2016 class, so big and global is just the influence that we had as artists.
We've seen Lego sets of the freshman class, art that's inspired by the freshman class, and people who have drawn it or made t-shirts of it or made their own pictures of it, tattoos that people have gotten, the reach that keeps going on every year. 10 years later, we still see new stuff.
Roll it on my wrist, roll it on my beach. What? 30 on my waist. What? 30 to your face. Yeah. 60 to your face. Yeah. 90 to your face. What? That's a close case. Yeah.
It's phenomenal to have been a part of making something that had that impact.
Hip hop is everywhere, and it's more than just music. It's culture, lifestyle, expression, it's fashion. Not only has it done so much for the artists that we work for, it's become this tool of aspiration that we can take our new artists to.
You can't get on the cover without having already proven something, but once you make that cover, it opens so many eyes and so many doors.
There's nobody that's been chosen for the freshman class that it's hurt their career. Part of the rites of passage at this point, you know, within hip hop. We're coming up on 20 years of freshman class. The who's who of who's been who in the rap game have been a part of that cover.
XXL has been around since the late 90s. This is a heritage magazine at this point that still is trying every year to help set the agenda for the future. That's not common. That's not really what's happening in the rest of media.
XXL is possibly the only platform that celebrates new artists that way, giving them a cover, giving them a voice, giving them an opportunity to not only showcase their talent, but where they're from.
Freshman is a tool, you know, for you to put in your bag and take along the way, just like a billboard, just like a big opportunity somewhere else. And it's really what you do or what you make with it of how beneficial it will be to you.
The 2016 class is not the most influential when it comes to rap. I think the 2016 class was influential when it comes to how artists present, how we put out music, what rap can do for you.
There are just stars in there. They're like the people that have been in there have just gone up and up and up. Headlining stadium tours with Bruno Mars, or they're making their own TV show. There's just such a wide variety of stardom in there.
I've talked to so many people over the years. I'm just like so blown away. They could care less about anything else. When I was on that cover, for a lot of people, that was what signified me making it. This year, I was Times 100's most influential person. Those things are in the same bracket, I feel like.
Once you get on that cover, you're part of history. You're part of a conversation that now includes the fan base of everybody else on the cover.
All of those guys from that XXL class look back and say, wow, we really did something special. They'll look at themselves as the pioneers of that era of music. And honestly, for XXL to be able to identify that group says a lot, because it's easier to get it wrong than it is to get it right.
Looking back, do I think XXL got it right? Hell yeah, 1,000% right.
2036 Cypher will probably go crazier than the 2016 XXL Cypher. We don't know.
But it always comes from a place of putting the artists in a good spot, highlighting them, giving them an opportunity to shine, celebrating them.
Engaging every year with young artists and saying, we want to be a part of your journey and we want to help shape this whole party that we're all at. That's a huge thing that I imagine will never go out of fashion, and also will never not be controversial.
One of the best